Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Our Life. Last we left off, we just finished our first day with Derek. We saw our family, went back to the old neighborhood, and now we're gonna go do some more new stuff for Father's Day. So, without further ado, let's hop into
All right,
this.
and back into this we go. You woke up the next morning in an unfamiliar but awfully comfortable bed. The sheets smelled of an unknown laundry detergent. You slowly absorbed your surroundings. This was Derek's place, wasn't it? And you were on a schedule. He groaned and rolled over to check the clock at the side table. It was hours before you had to leave. You had woken up with plenty of time. You had slept in. You needed to hurry. I wake up early, but going back to sleep wasn't happening. You slipped out of bed and casually got yourself ready. Soon you wandered in the living room and you might drift back to what Derek said last night. It was a heavy admission for him, his lack of confidence to reach out to you. He didn't want to dwell on it. It was a big day for the entire Spores family, and you didn't want to rain on the parade just because you were aware that it used to flood in the past. Derek would bring it up if he wanted to talk more about it, but until then you wouldn't let it lie. You would let it lie. The man on your mind was there when you left the hall. Derek was fully dressed, a gym bag under his arm, and leaning over the kitchen counter, with a pen in his
Morning.
hand. Whoa, morning, Ari. He stretched backwards and settling into a more upright position. I'm heading to the gym. Might have been able to guess I was going to leave a note in case you weren't up yet. Oh. You smiled at this consideration. He could have texted you, but probably worried about disrupting you. Making physical notes was an old habit of his. I'm going to be back by 7:30. Is that all right? Yeah, I'll watch something until you get back. Sure, I can read something to you about. Cool, I have a game to play. I'll be entertained. Can I come along to hang out? Can I go too? I want to work out. I like working out. We'll go
Yeah.
too. Hell yeah, grab anything you need and we can go. You excitedly ran back to your room and gathered whatever you thought would be useful. You packed in an extra pack that you had brought along as part of your luggage. After that, you went down to the gym's complex gym. After that, you went down to the complex gym. You both worked out and did not skip leg day. His gym was easy to love. While it was basic, it had useful selection of equipment. You could try a bit of everything. Derek cheered you on with a wide smile. Your heart rate increased. You worked up a decent sweat. After you finished, Derek showed you the drink vending machine and bought you a water. Once you'd recovered, Derek led you back to the apartment. You and Derek took a quick shower, and you two left the apartment to run your errands before the day could start in earnest. Derek picked the most direct path to the nearby grocery store. Around you, the city bustled, and people tried to get to work. Cars lined the streets. People hurried into various buildings. It took approximately 10 minutes to reach the automatic doors of the store and step into the air conditioning. Various displays tried to sell you on all of the Father's Day deals. There wasn't much about it that set this one apart from the one in your old town. We're probably gonna need a cart. Man, I really love the sprites because they're very expressive, and the detailing on the muscle is very consistent, and that's something that I can never do when I'm drawing. Muscles are really hard to get to look just right. We're probably gonna need a cart. He pulled out one of this with a smooth movement and had a lightly squeaky wheel.
Let's get to it.
There, we were ready to go. He leaned over the handle like he was at the start of a cart race. He waited for the shot to go off. So, what protein do you want? It was a good question. At that point in your life, you were. I'm not picky. I eat almost everything. The only things I don't eat are gluten, almonds, well, most nuts. I eat peanuts, but that's about it. I have dietary restrictions, but if I can eat it, I probably will. That's something Derek already aware of, but he couldn't make an entire meal plan for you. We can start cooking at home for some of your meals, though a lot of what we'll eat today will probably still be from my parents' house or restaurants. I'd say we'll only need 2 or 3 packs of things.
What do you think?
I'm thinking chicken, sausage, and eggs, but you can get something else. I wanted to make sure there's stuff you want to eat. You inspected your surroundings and thought about what you wanted. Pork and lamb, turkey, salmon, cod, shrimp, tofu, lentils, beans. Ugh, love shrimp. And fish, and salmon, and bacon. That was all. Derek smiled and shook his head. You sure gonna finish all of that before you leave? I'm not gonna be able to help that much. I'm not Cove. You both chuckled at the joke. It was very true. I'll just get what I can manage. Don't worry.
All right.
All right, let's go grab some good vegetables to go with that, and some rice or whatever. Next, remember to check the discount rack. We should get a jug of lemonade. How about oatmeal too? We can grab some granola. Mangoes would be good. Let's check the discount, right? Derek snorted and craned his neck around.
I'm
Look,
impressed.
you're a genius.
So,
Want to check out the cards first before we pick up anything cold? You agreed and started strolling leftwards. Derek led you to the correct aisle, inspected the options. You picked out a nice card for Mr. Suarez. The card was funny, casual, sincere. Sincere. A few of the Father's Day cards on the end were emotional or blank inside, where you could write your own message. You were immediately drawn to the ability to express exactly what you thought. Derek perused a white card with silver text, sniffled when he finished reading it. It's beautiful. You carefully chose your selection. It showed your sincerity. You began your very personal browsing. Derek sped walked with the cart and kept things moving, but wasn't rushing you either. It was nearly as leisurely as when you first shopped with him. Neither of you were in a rush and appreciated the company. However, as adults, the atmosphere between you two was markedly different. Before, you had investigated the store as if every shelf could hold buried treasure. Now each item took a little attention, and you spent more energy absorbing each other's presence. Grocery shopping was more of a chore and less of an experience. However, even chores weren't bad with Derek. You both debated brands, helped spot elusive items, and encouraged each other to get what you wanted. If one of you hesitated over something, the other would compel the other to treat themselves. Mutual decisions were praised for the good taste, and strange selections were jokingly critiqued. It was the best visit to the grocery store you had in ages. When you checked the discount rack, there were small packets from Star Bakery, mostly cookies from the day before. It wasn't grand, but it was a more reasonably sized treat than, say, a whole pie. That's how Derek felt about it. He grabbed one and dropped it in the cart. Knowing him, he planned to share. After getting the goods, you went through the self-checkout to pay for it all. Derek scanned, and you bagged until everything was put away and paid for. The first part of the shopping trip was over. Now you had to carry it all back on foot. Derek loaded himself up with supplies eagerly. Do you normally carry your groceries like this? I didn't think how we'd have to walk back with the stuff. Nice seeing him in a good mood. Do you normally take your groceries like this? Yeah, I'd rather do it this way than drive. Indeed, you saw no struggle from Derek. It occurred to you that this was second workout today, and it wasn't even 9 o'clock yet. He continued to grab the bag without asking you to help. It soon became obvious that he intended to carry them all. You hurried and snatched a few bags before you could. You wouldn't let him get away with such a scheme. Oh, well, thank you. You retraced the path back to the apartment, crossing through the crowded streets with a bundle of groceries. The pace was brisk. The two of you had places to be and people to see. As soon as you returned, Derek dumped the bag onto the counter, and he turned his head over his shoulder to face you. We can just put the cold stuff in the fridge and leave the rest. We've got to go soon. You placed what you carried on the end of the counter. You smashed the eggs and opened the nearly empty refrigerator. Where in the fridge?
whatever works.
Wherever you'll remember it being. What sage organization advice. You nodded along with Derek's enthusiasm. Let's do it. With confidence and determination, the two of you tore through bags in search of goods that needed to stay chilled. With a team effort, it only took a couple minutes to put the groceries away safely. Nice work, Gary. He offered you a triumphant high five. You gave his hand a loud smack. Now, nothing's stopping us. We can actually eat some of these groceries we got. Immediately, if not sooner. Given the ticking clock, you had fast and simple breakfast. While it wasn't fancy, it satisfied your appetite and would fuel you through the day. When you were done, Derek placed the dirty dishes in the sink. He gave them a light rinse and wiped his hands. We gotta go. Bros are waiting. In short order, you were excited. You exited the apartment, and you would be staying out longer. Derek was more cautious, leaving his place. Derek double-checked that he locked the door and went to his car. You jumped in the passenger seat and buckled your seatbelt. Derek started the ignition to check behind him before he easily pulled out of the spot. George texted me and said he was already at Mom and Dad's place. He's gonna leave his car there, and then you, me, and him and Nick will all go in mine. It'd be too much of an extra hassle to make George drive behind us. He grinned cheekily with a knowing glance. But I did already tell him that you had dibs on shotgun. Thank you. You're a champ. You didn't have to do that. Does George normally get a shotgun? I hope your brothers aren't mad about that. You're a champ.
You know it.
You know what? I'm happy to use my eldest brother powers for you. Derek was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. His focus stayed on the road. He boldly navigated through the packed streets, his entire demeanor screaming his familiarity with the drive. The sound of traffic droned on, making it easy to zone out. You hadn't even noticed that the conversation had completely dropped until Derek spoke up with a question.
So...
What do you think of the gym? It was super cool working out with you. I was very impressed by it. My normal gym is better, but that gym doesn't have you. I don't care about gyms. I want to spend more time with you. I had a good time. It was about to be insulted on behalf of my gym, but then you had to end it like that. The car slid to a stop that had traffic light turn red. Derek put his hand on his heart.
Aww.
That's sweet. Sometime I'll check out your gym, then you'll have the best of both worlds. I'd like that. What do you think we'll do today? What's your workout schedule? You quietly looked out the window. What do you think he'll do today? The mystery.
Maybe.
Well, sort of. George would probably want to go see a game if there's anything good happening. Other than that, he'd pick whatever's current at the movies. But it's Nico controlling today's activities, and has a distinctive style. Expect him to pick what we usually don't do, so it could be almost anything. You listened to him with interest as he chatted about the previous Nico misadventures, and the bee farm in particular sounded inspired. Derek turned into the same parking lot from the day before you had arrived at the Suarez household. You both got out of the car and walked up to the door in the complex. It swung open before Derek could knock. Derek took a step back, not expecting it. George grinned from the doorway and welcomed you inside.
Hey.
Hey, bro.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. George finished bumped his brothers, each of them excited. Hey, George, what's up? You know, life. He led you further into the condo. Nicholas was lounging on the couch. He twisted around to face you.
You're here!
Nicholas cheered and threw his hands up in the air. He hopped off the cushion, bouncing to his feet. He ran to the entryway, immediately going to Derek. Of course, we wouldn't miss it. You noticed Mr. and Miss Suarez cleaning up the kitchen. They must have just finished breakfast themselves. Oh, looks like we have company. Welcome, it's nice to see you too. Derek nodded, and his mom turned around to put a jar of strawberry jam into the
Hello.
refrigerator. Hello, Derek. Good morning, Ari. How was the drive? Hi, Dad. The drive was the same as usual, but forget about that. Derek lit up in anticipation and beamed.
Congrats.
Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. Miss Suarez patted her husband on the back, and he puffed up full of proud dad mode. Thank you. Oh, and my mom says Happy Father's Day too. He directed his attention towards you. Thank you again. It's a wonderful day already. Derek observed contentedly before glancing over his brothers. George had pulled out his phone at some point, and Nicholas absentmindedly fiddled with his hair clips. You two ready to go?
Yeah!
I was born ready. With that zealous claim, Nicholas was suddenly all fired up. George crossed his arms and decidedly not as energetic. I'm not that level of ready, but I can manage to leave now. Do you need anything, Ari? Nope. All right, then let's go.
Are you sure?
No one needs to go potty? Miss Suarez spoke and poked her head into the conversation, her expression too innocent. All three of her sons slumped their shoulders and sighed. Yes, Mom.
Yes, Mom.
Yes, Mom. Yes, Mom. Perfect. She clapped her hands together, and the boys relaxed, all showing different degrees of amusement.
Have a good one.
Have fun, and we'll see you all this evening.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Talk to you later.
See you tonight. We'll be there. Now let's roll out. And Derek led the way after waving to his parents. He held the door for you and his brothers. Outside, he unlocked his car, and it beeped. George and Nicholas beelined for the vehicle. George initially went for the passenger seat before catching himself and opening the back car door. Nicholas barreled into the back seat without hesitation. You and Derek got into the car, completing the seating arrangement that Derek had discussed prior. As Derek turned the key in the ignition, it struck you that the last time you had been outing with only the four, it was when you and the boy had been the boy's babysitter. Now George was an actual adult, and Nicholas wasn't that far behind him. It was surreal thinking about how much had changed over the years. Everyone had grown up. You wondered how Nicholas and George felt about hanging out with the big kids as equals. Derek cranked up the AC but kept the car in park. He leaned his head back.
what's up?
So, Nico, where am I going? The youngest leaned forward, sticking his head through the gap between the car's front seats. I want to go to it's a bakery. I don't know how to pronounce. Derek raised his eyebrows and exchanged a look with George. Whoa, is a surprise, even more than one. I figured you're not a fan of cakes and cupcakes, all things sugary. Yeah, I thought you grew out of all that. George's tone was more teasing than Derek's, dry with mock skepticism, and Nicholas rolled his eyes. I did. Most desserts are totally inedible. This place is different. The owner is cool, and we should support local business. They've got vegan, gluten-free options, and other stuff too. Now, can we get over there? The later it gets, the more stuff will be sold out. Bring it up on your phone. It should be 20 minutes from here. Derek chuckled, but chose not to comment on the defensive explanation. Your wish is my command.
Thanks.
Thank you. Nicholas smiled, sweeter than his dessert preference. Derek brought out his phone and typed Zach out on the map program. Nothing obvious turned up. Nicholas snorted and poking his head forward to the front of the car. Try X and not a Z.
I gotcha.
Gotcha. Derek corrected the spelling and then tapped. The first result was open average business, estimated 22 minutes away. Now buckle up. Nicholas flung himself backwards, settled into a seat. Derek waited for him to click his seatbelt before shifting the car into reverse. George had been buckled since his brother had started the car, and you weren't far behind. You wondered if it was normal for Nicholas to need a reminder. The directions chimed in over the speaker to head east. Derek shook his head. Let me escape the parking lot first. He muttered to the map programming as it kept giving him unhelpful instructions. Once he reached the road, it finally stopped complaining about Derek's twists and turns. George drew one of his legs up and leaned against the car door, getting comfy. If we're gonna go somewhere with the bakery, we could have gone to the grocery store. Think about the convenience.
No.
Come on, bro. We've got a car now. We have higher standards than a grocery store bakery section. George laughed back at him, but doubled down.
No.
Still would have picked a normal supermarket. It's a classic. Derek grinned as he flicked his turn signal on. Most of his attention was on the stoplight in front of him, but he still took the opportunity to banter. Sorry, George. Ari and I went to the grocery store today without you. Already? Yeah, I was basically out of everything. Shoot, we missed out then. George closed his eyes tightly and hummed in thought. Remember back when Nicholas insisted on using his allowance on a carton of eggs, he could see cooking them on the sidewalk worked? Yeah, I also remember the raw egg puddles and eating scrambled eggs for breakfast and dinner. Nicholas shrugged his shoulders, justified but hiding his embarrassment. Inquiring minds had to know, and it was more exciting than getting an apple. George's eyes narrowed, openly judging his little brother. I wanted to eat an apple. I did. My purchase led to zero regret, unlike your science experiment. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Always wanted to try finding an egg on the street. Tried the egg thing too when I was a kid. George is still borgy. Cracking an egg on the ground is an even bigger mess than a pie fight. Hey, did you two do the thing where you stuck your hands in the veggie mist? Pie fight. Immediately the memory inspired the entire car to laugh. We got that pie from the discount rack and Derek wouldn't let me eat it all. So, of course, you decided to throw one of the leftover slices at me. Yeah, and then you smushed a piece right into Nico's hair. You smashed the pie on yourself, Derek. You snorted as they chatted about how much of a chore it was to clean that mess up. The lively discussion continued through the drive. At 20 minutes later, the GPS chimed in that the destination was on the right. Derek turned into the packed row of shops above them. A bright pink sign with electrified swirls letters proclaimed itself as Zach. It grabbed your attention standing out amongst the sedate signs around it. Nicholas shimmered in his seat. Derek found a parking place along the street and carefully parallel parked. Enough cars zoomed past on the street that Derek and Nicholas didn't feel safe opening their car doors. You and George got out first and waited on the sidewalk for the two to crawl through. Nicholas stifled his laughter as he watched Derek contort himself over the gear shift. The spot had a meter, so Derek paid for 30 minutes worth of parking. We should be in and out, right? No, you're not planning on having a whole meal here? Definitely not.
All right.
Then that'll work. Despite the minor bump getting there, all the boys were visibly thrilled, and you were delighted. Look at them. They all look so cute together. Nicholas fused with his hair and readjusted his romper. Once he had straightened it back out, he nodded and George, who had waited by him. Derek marched ahead of the pack, and you were certain that he was going to hold Zach's door open for everybody. You treasured his gallantry. You rushed ahead to open it first. Derek approached the door as expected, but you whipped your arm past him to grab the handle. He stopped in place, stunned. You took advantage of his confusion, pulled the door, held it, and gestured the others to go in. After you. Derek remained glued to the ground, still awkwardly processing that you had sniped the door from him. George and Nicholas did not have that trouble. They strolled past, finding the invent hilarious. Thank you, Ari. Yeah, you're too kind. You nearly tapped your foot while waiting for Derek to finally respond, raising his chin and
I
smirking.
see how it is.
His competitive side took over, his posture relaxed in the way a tiger did before pouncing. Thank you. He walked in but kept his sharp gaze entirely focused on you. Then he winked. You got me. Don't plan on making it a habit. You knew that only meant you wouldn't be as easy to beat him going forward. Well, that was fine with you. You followed the boys and let the door shut behind you. The swinging of the doors as it closed jingled a sprightly bell. It set the tone of the place immediately, a classy yet cozy atmosphere that was full to bursting with warming and inviting scents. Most everything was some shade of pink or cream. The owner could have made green leaves out of live plants around the room, a delicate baby pink instead. You didn't doubt they would have. The four of you went over and clustered together near the front of the shop. Today's freshly made confections sat in perfectly aligned rows, side a glass away. Each had its own paper and doily underneath.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and if you did, remember to hit like. That way I know you're enjoying the content I'm making. Remember to hit subscribe. That way YouTube brings you back here to see what happens next, and I won't take up any more of your time. I hope you have a good day, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.